Everyone, I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, we have more details on the funding meant for Ironwood Aspirus and how it was cut after it went unclaimed. Plus, tensions in the Middle East and Ukraine take center stage as President Trump meets with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We'll have the latest. And child care centers in Minnesota are now under investigation following a report from an independent journalist. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Boy, what a weather day we have had today. My goodness, lots of snow around. The good news is we're going to start tapering off the snow as we head into tomorrow. Lows tonight into the teens, and that's pretty much where we'll be for tomorrow. Not a lot of temp movement here, but there is another storm system that is on the way that's going to impact us, especially as we head into New Year's Eve. And once again, it's probably going to be another hefty snow event. Those details coming up in just a few minutes.
Dakota, thank you very much. Earlier this month, Michigan House Republicans clawed back over $600 million in previously approved work project grants. Some of that funding was tied to the closed labor and delivery services in Gogebic County, but lawmakers say that money was never actually taken by the hospital. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy has the details.
Earlier this month, Michigan's House Appropriations Committee voted to deny $644 million in work projects.
All of those appropriations are ones from 2 cycles ago, and many of them, the money has already actually been paid out in entirety or almost completed.
A list from Governor Whitmer's office shows that included in those cuts is a $1.2 million community enhancement grant tied to the labor and delivery services at Aspirus Ironwood Hospital.
This particular one, though, dealing with Aspirus and the birthing center, Aspirus and I worked hard on.
Senator Ed McBroom says that after the closure of ER services in Ontonagon, the hospital system warned the Ironwood Birthing Center could shut down. McBroom says he worked with Aspirus to secure the grant funding necessary to continue operating.
This money, they said if they got this money, they could keep it going. Then they never took the money. And not only did they just forget about it, they just did not want to take the money, even though they were asked to take it a number of times.
Still, the Labor and Delivery Department at the Ironwood facility announced its closure earlier this year without ever accepting the funds. McBroom says that lack of communication meant the money sat unused, while other healthcare providers in the Upper Peninsula continued to struggle.
The money is still available. We have to change the actual law to send it to somebody other than Aspirus.
McBroom says he is now working to redirect the unused funds to a provider willing to use them to expand healthcare access in the UP. From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
President Trump hosted Israeli Prime Minister at his home in Florida today. The two men discussed plans aimed at keeping the Middle East peace deal on track. Aaron Navarro has the details.
President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met Monday at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The two world leaders warned of consequences if Hamas doesn't disarm.
If they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that.
Israel has continued striking targets in Gaza during the ceasefire. The Israeli leader reiterated his concerns that Hamas isn't holding up its end of the 20-point peace plan.
Israel's lived up to the plan 100%.
Netanyahu's visit to the U.S. comes at a time in which the peace deal is at a critical point. Both sides are looking to get to a second phase in the agreement that involves naming a temporary international governing body and reforming the Palestinian Authority. Netanyahu expressed his gratitude to President Trump and presented him with the Israel Prize, seldom presented to a non-Israeli.
It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people.
Monday marked the second consecutive day in which President Trump focused on international conflicts. On Sunday, after meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the president expressed optimism about ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. On Monday, President Trump said he called Russian President Vladimir Putin to follow up on Sunday's meeting with Zelensky. During their conversation, Putin reportedly told President Trump about a drone attack aimed at one of Putin's homes.
It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that.
Among the issues central to ending the war between Russia and Ukraine, providing security guarantees for Ukraine, and ironing out territorial disputes.
President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu additionally met today with the family of the last remaining slain hostage held in Gaza. The family wants their loved one's remains to be returned before the second stage of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire deal before it's implemented. The federal fraud investigation in Minnesota took a new turn today. This time, agents are zeroing in on daycare centers and health clinics after a viral video torched off a firestorm. Jonah Kaplan puts that video into context.
Amidst the bitter cold, Minnesota is again feeling the heat from Washington. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem sharing this video today showing federal agents at several child care centers investigating allegations of fraud.
Healthcare here, healthcare right here.
The tips aren't from the FBI. They're from a video posted this weekend by YouTuber Nick Shirley, which was seen more than 100 million times.
While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously.
State officials today also visiting some of the sites and told CBS News 2 centers had already shut down earlier this year. CBS News also reviewed nearly a dozen daycares mentioned by Shirley. All but 2 have active licenses, and some were inspected as recently as 3 weeks ago. Many centers, like this one in South Minneapolis, were cited and fined for safety violations, but investigators found no evidence of fraud. Daycares aside, the land of 10,000 lakes has been reeling from what prosecutors warn is a $9 billion COVID-era fraud scandal. Earlier this month, CBS News detailed how a group of convicted fraudsters stole $250 million of taxpayer money from a state-run program meant to help feed vulnerable children during the pandemic.
Fraud is not small. It isn't isolated. The magnitude cannot be overstated.
The majority of those arrested in the scheme were Somali Americans. Minnesota has the nation's largest Somali population.
There are 14 specific programs funded by Medicaid and run by the state in Minnesota that are currently under investigation by the state and federal government. According to prosecutors, child care is not one of them.
Over a foot of heavy snow landed in Marquette County in just under 12 hours. WZMQ's Andrew Hand spoke with the lead meteorologist with the Marquette County National Weather Service and has more.
We just had a pretty impactful system lift through the Great Lakes, and as it moved through the region, it got stronger, and now we're left picking up the pieces.
In a matter of hours early Monday morning, Marquette County was sieged by high winds and packy wet snow, leading to major service groups like Mark Tran, UP Health System outpatient clinics, city and county buildings, and gas stations closing their doors for the day.
Usually the snow isn't that impactful by itself, but with this storm we had a large number of wind reports that accompany it. Widespread 40, 50 mile per hour winds were observed.
This wind ultimately caused thousands of outages throughout the Upper Peninsula, putting power companies and road commissions into full speed. News doesn't sleep through these conditions either, and on my way to work I spoke to a few visitors to the area also making their trek on foot due to the conditions abruptly changing their plans.
I was supposed to drive back home today, and this is like a nice way to extend the trip without having to decide.
But a tree did fall on my car, so that was a little unfortunate, but we got lucky and my car is pretty much unscathed.
The National Weather Service advises the public to stay inside unless absolutely necessary until conditions are expected to dampen around 7 p.m. tonight.
It's just important to remind folks that in an event like this, if you don't have to be out, don't be out. Like, just stay home, let the folks that are out there trying to restore everything do their jobs, and just hold on tight, and power come back on, the roads get cleared, and we'll get back to normal life.
Reporting in Marquette, Andrew Hands, WZMQ 19 News.
Dakota Hunter has your first warning weather forecast when we come back. Plus, we'll see how these storms are affecting other parts of the country. And many people deal with loneliness around the holiday season. We'll hear from a psychiatrist on how to avoid isolation. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Now, from the 19 News Forecast Center, this is WZMQ 19 First Warning Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. 24 was the high temp today, but I think everyone's more focused on that number. 15.9 inches. That was the snow total today at the Sawyer Airport, and that breaks the daily snowfall record for Marquette, too, by the way. So, broke a record that I don't think a lot of us wanted to break. But look at these snow totals across the area. 24 inches, 2 feet of snow out towards Big Bay, Crystal Falls at 16 inches, and there could be even some totals higher than this. Again, we get so many reports, we can't show them all on the air, but this was part of the issue, and here was the other issue, the wind. This is why we had the blizzard warning that was in effect through the weekend and through early today. When you deal with wind gusts over 50, 60 miles per hour, that in itself can cause damage and blowing things around, but you combine it with heavy snow, you saw the result. A lot of whiteouts you could not see. Travel has been very difficult. Our peak wind gust across the area is Munising at 64 miles per hour, at the Sawyer Airport 53, Rockland at 52, and Cedar River at 48. But even 48 miles per hour, that is enough wind, especially when you're dealing with heavy snow, to cause near whiteouts. And remember, the technical definition of a blizzard is winds, wind gust, and temperature, and feels like temperature. It really has nothing to do with snow depth, but that does play into it. But if you think we're alone, we are not. I mean, this is a major winter storm system that's been impacting the upper Great Lakes and the Northeast. Look at the storm reports. Over 1,500 storm reports from this whole system that has been moving on through. So again, 2025 just not ending quietly. And we've still got more snow on the way. We're not done. Tomorrow's going to be a little break in the snow. A few snow flurries still will be likely, yes, but I think most of it will hold off until Wednesday, especially across the eastern half of the UP. So here's how it looks on Futurecast. We're quiet through much of Tuesday, a few flurries. Another round of snow comes in as we head into the evening, but Wednesday's the day that we're going to watch. This is another lake effect event setting up, and it looks like some totals could push over 6 inches, especially across the eastern half of the UP. Tuesday, snow totals should be insignificant, but there you see out here towards Munising and out towards Newberry, that's where we got to watch for maybe 6+ inches. And winds will also come up along with that, so blowing and drifting could likely be another issue as we head into especially New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But notice the temperatures, we're still in the freezer, no warm up here, and even as we head into the first full week of 2026, it's still going to be chilly with a lot of clouds.
Dakota, thank you again. Michigan isn't the only state that saw these high snow totals. Others in the Midwest are also being hit hard. Bradley Blackburn has more.
A powerful winter storm blanketed much of the Midwest in a blizzard Sunday, dumping snow and bringing whiteout conditions to roadways.
14-vehicle crash.
Zero visibility and ice caused accidents from Iowa to Michigan to Minnesota, where jackknifed tractor trailers lined snowy highways. The message to drivers, stay off the roads.
We actually had a semi who stopped in the traveled lane, because they are having difficulty seeing, which then caused a chain reaction accident.
In central Illinois, a suspected tornado touched down Sunday, scattering debris and damaging buildings, including some that were total losses.
We have people that are losing their homes tonight.
The system is now moving into the Northeast, hitting upstate New York and New England with freezing rain and snowfall.
Parts of New York State could see more than a foot of snow this week. Here in New York City, the problem is a blanket of dense fog that wrapped skyscrapers and slowed air travel.
As you can tell, it's pretty windy out there right now.
At Chicago O'Hare, conditions brought some planes to a stop. There have been thousands of cancellations and delays nationwide over the last few days, with more expected this week. Holiday travelers everywhere are exhausted.
We were supposed to leave last night, then we got delayed till like 8, and then they canceled it until today.
Out west, snow even capped mountains near Los Angeles after days of atmospheric river-fueled moisture in Southern California. Winter weather from coast to coast with more on the way.
More than 100 million people have been under high wind advisories. The storm is also expected to send temperatures plunging in the south as the Arctic cold front moves toward Florida and the Gulf. The holidays aren't always the most wonderful time of the year. For many Americans, it's a time of isolation. According to a recent study from the AARP, 40% of adults age 45 and older struggle with loneliness, and men have higher rates of feeling lonely than women. Mental health experts attribute the loneliness epidemic to a me versus we culture and a fear of coming across as needy.
We're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to ask for help. We think of it as a sign of weakness. Hyper-reliance, self-reliance, individualism at the expense of community is at the crux of it. Time management, attention management. We're living in the attention economy, right? So I think all of these things push us to figure it out yourself.
Loneliness is an even bigger health concern for seniors. Research shows social isolation significantly increases the risk of dementia, heart disease, depression, strokes, and premature death. It's getting colder outside, and if it's dangerous outside for humans, that means it's also dangerous outside for our pets. Michael George shows us how to keep our dogs and cats safe and warm this winter.
Mo Hussein just started fostering 8-year-old Princess, and he noticed right away that because she's a short-haired breed, she was more sensitive to the cold.
You can tell when Princess is cold. Yeah, so you start seeing signs if you're looking. They might curl up a little tighter, or you'll see a little bit of shaking and shivering in the rear legs, things like that.
With temperatures dropping, it's a good reminder that just because our furry friends have fur, that doesn't mean they're safe in the cold.
Cold weather can be very dangerous for animals.
Julie Castle, CEO of Best Friends Animal Society, an animal welfare organization, says anytime it's below 20 degrees, cats and dogs are vulnerable to frostbite and even death.
If it's below 20 degrees, if you have little booties that you can put on your dog's feet, use those.
Animals' paws, ears, and noses are the most vulnerable to cold. You should limit walks outside to the bare minimum. And when you get back inside, check your pet's paws for salt used to melt the snow.
Snow melt can be poisonous to a lot of animals. And so make sure that you wipe their paws, wash their paws off after they get outside from a long walk.
And a warning, even if you're not a pet owner, in the winter, cats often seek out the warmth of a car engine.
So if you're going to get in your car and go somewhere, make sure that you tap on the hood. I even pop my hood just to make sure there are no animals underneath there.
Mo says Princess loves her outdoor time, but he always makes sure she's warm.
Dogs in particular are so stoic. They deal with so much pain without letting you know that anything's wrong, so it's really good to keep an eye on them.
A good reminder that a warm pet is a happy pet.
Still to come on your 19 News, Shaquille O'Neal is offering his support for a police recruit standing over 7 feet tall. We'll have that story and more when we come back.
You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Kevin Hodge.
Welcome back, everyone. A 7'3" police recruit is chasing a long-lost dream of serving his community. Jerika Duncan tells us he's receiving an unlikely assist from Shaquille O'Neal.
When Shaquille O'Neal met 24-year-old Jordan Wilmore in Kemah, Texas, he didn't expect to meet his match.
I actually found out about him through jealousy. I thought I was the tallest, handsomest cop in the world.
Shaq, who has several law enforcement titles himself, learned about Wilmore's quest to become an officer and wanted to know more.
On this, because it's commendable that a kid wants to be a cop. I love cops.
Back in September, Steve Hartman shared the story of how Wilmore was encouraged to pursue basketball his whole life because of his height.
It was hard for me to share like my dreams or, the stuff I wanted to do growing up because it was, you just got to focus on basketball because it can make you millions.
If you got a phone call tomorrow, the NBA, $1 million, or stay here and be a cop in Texas.
Stay here.
You want to think about it?
No, I'll stay here.
But after completing the police academy, Wilmore fell short of passing the state exam by 1 point. So Shaq jumped in to help Wilmore rebound. He agreed to pay for Wilmore's expenses for the next 5 months so he can focus on the exam.
I let him know that he had my full support. So I'm going to be on you, brother. Make sure you get it done. All right. Thank you.
This holiday season, some of those tiny free libraries you see in many neighborhoods across the country are being turned into little food pantries. Families are swapping the books for groceries to help their neighbors struggling with rising food prices. Alexa Liaco found out how much it means in one Atlanta community.
So we got a full box now for sure.
The Kellys have watched this little free library serve as a place of joy and connection in their neighborhood.
Parents will say, my children love coming to this park because they can reach up in there and grab a book, and it's promoting literacy.
But this fall, they realized their community needed something more.
We thought, well, why not turn it into more of a blessing box?
Bo and Julia Kelly now stock the shelves with pantry staples and snacks, and neighbors rallied to help.
From churches, local businesses, the local Cub Scouts, anyone can come up here, drop off any kind of donation.
Emory professor Saloni Farasta-Vastani says grocery prices are up 25% since 2021.
You're going to see that pressure sort of continue through the end of the year on food and kids being home from school, not having that lunch and free meal available.
We filled this one up.
That's why the Kellys hope other neighborhoods with little free libraries take a page from their book to keep families from going hungry.
Because I think hope in a lot of people's lives is kind of missing right now. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of places to turn. So just to know that there are people like this willing to just add a little bit of something into somebody's day, it puts a smile on my face, and I'm sure it does for a lot of other individuals as well.
Hollywood has high cinematic hopes for 2026, and an elusive artist is helping turn a hotel into a tourism-worthy museum. Gwen Baumgartner has tonight's entertainment headlines.
With the new year just 3 days away, movie theaters are gearing up for a star-studded 2026. Highly anticipated films like Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and The Devil Wears Prada 2 come out in the middle of next year. Film critic Jake Coyle expects sci-fi to dominate the big screen.
You've got Project Hail Mary, you've got Dune 3, you've even got a Star Wars movie for the first time in a while. So, there'll be a lot of outer space journeys in the year to come.
Hey, Luigi! The Super Mario Galaxy movie will be released in April. Days after anonymous street artist Banksy unveiled his latest piece, a hotel inspired by his work announced its reopening in Bethlehem. The Waldorf Hotel is filled with graffiti and artwork from the famed artist. Employees say it's not just a hotel, but a museum and artistic platform for tourists to enjoy. On Wednesday, the final episode from the hit series Stranger Things will be released.
He's planning to end our world.
Netflix reports that the 5-season series has already garnered more than 1 billion views on their streaming site. The show's popularity is undeniable, with Season 5's premiere week being the most successful for Netflix when it comes to English language shows.
Now don't go away. When we come back, Dakota Hunter will have our final look at weather. Stay tuned.
Lows tonight into the teens, so another chilly night, but at least the snow does taper off for a lot of us across the Upper Peninsula. Tomorrow, yeah, still chilly. Not a lot of temp movement with that dominant north wind's going to keep us on the chillier side of things. Few snow flurries around, but I'm really more concerned about Wednesday, New Year's Eve day and night. That's going to be our next chance for seeing another good snowfall across the region, and this would mainly be across the eastern half of the UP. So if you're out towards Marquette to the west, you're probably going to miss out on a lot of that snow, especially Wednesday. So again, if you're out there towards Munising, that's where you're going to see probably an additional 6 to 10 inches through Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, we're bringing in the new year with more snow and cold weather as well. Temperatures still remain below average, and even the long-range data doesn't suggest a warm-up for quite a while. So hang in there, folks.
Will do. Dakota, thank you very much. And finally tonight, a crowd gathered in New York Times Square today for a colorful practice run for the thousands of pounds of confetti that will rain down when the new year arrives later this week. Just a few days before the world-famous ball drops to welcome 2026, organizers launched colorful confetti in Times Square. The confetti test is preparation for the spectacle millions of people around the world will watch.
This year, for the first time ever, we are setting a world record here in Times Square with nearly 3 tons of confetti. We're going to start off at 10 p.m. with purple and yellow confetti. At midnight, we have a mixture of colorful rainbow confetti. And then to celebrate America's 250th anniversary year, we're going to have red, white, and blue confetti. 5,500 pounds of confetti.
Visitors can go to the New Year's Eve wishing wall to write their 2026 wishes on the confetti. That's it for now, everyone. We'll catch you back here tomorrow.